Children are not the only ones who struggle in the parent-child relationship. Often parents act inappropriately or in an ineffective manner that inadvertently encourages bad behavior. Here are some of the reasons parents struggle. Lack of training. Parenting requires no formal education, even though it is one of the most complex and difficult tasks any of us ever do. Winging it with kids is not good enough unless you have children who are great at raising themselves. Lack of appropriate role models. Learned behavior is actually stored in the brain. If you never experienced good parenting, it is hard to be a good parent without the proper training. Having ineffective parents often teaches bad habits that are unconsciously repeated. Authority conflicts. The current generation of parents has serious problems with authority issues. Many of us grew up during the Vietnam War. For many years, we frequently saw students and war protesters demonstrating against authority. Authority became a bad word. Because of this, I think many modern-day parents have trouble believing that their children should respect them or that being firm is good for children. In addition, many parents get into the trap of wanting to be liked by their children and become unable to exert authority. Low self-esteem. Self-esteem plays a huge role in parenting. If you have low self-esteem, you're likely to believe you'll be a lousy parent and thus act in a way that is consistent with that belief. Stress. Parenting skills are very sensitive to stress. Because children are little and weak, parents who are stressed can take out their frustrations on them. A bad day at the office for mom or dad often results in the child's being screamed at for little or no reason. Work pressures, financial problems, marital discord, or health problems can set up parental difficulties. Everyday stresses as well interfere with the parent-child relationship. Some of these stresses include interruptions of plans, minor accidents, pet peeves, and trouble with in-laws. Negative thinking patterns. Negative thoughts and assumptions about a child can be very harmful. When a parent assumes the child is misbehaving in order to embarrass him or her, they react in a negative way that almost reinforces bad behavior. Underlying emotional or neurological problems. 49% of adults at some point in their life will experience an emotional or learning problem which will interfere with their ability to effectively parent. ADD, depression, anxiety, learning disabilities, substance abuse, etc. As a parent, having an unrecognized, undiagnosed, untreated mental illness can be devastating to the emotional development of a child. I once had a phone call from a very close friend whom I hadn't heard from in years. He sounded different. When we lived close together, he was energetic, positive, outgoing, funny, and fascinated by the world around him. As I listened to him on the phone, however, his voice was flat and his thoughts were very negative. He told me his life had no meaning, and he would much rather see heaven than struggle through any more days. My friend was sleeping a lot, had problems concentrating, and even lost interest in sex, which was a real change for him. He was also irritable and aggressive with his child, and became socially withdrawn from everyone. He suffered from clinical depression. He was the last person in the world with whom I expected to be having that kind of conversation. But mental illness is extremely common. A recent study by the National Institutes of Mental Health demonstrated that 49% of the population will suffer from a mental illness during some point in their life. Anxiety problems, depression, and alcohol or drug abuse are the most common problems. Mental illnesses strike the rich and the poor, the successful and the not-so-successful. They devastate individuals and families, and they most often go untreated because of the stigma our society attaches to them. My friend had postponed calling me for over 9 months. It was not until his wife threatened to divorce him that he called me. If you or someone you know has persistent symptoms, it's important to have a psychiatric evaluation by a competent professional. Too often, because of the stigma, it takes child abuse, a broken marriage, a job loss, or a life at the brink of suicide before a person seeks help.